bull crap. I like to be stuck where you be like, well, I can't do it because, you know.
Come over here.
Right.
Act like we. Okay. Okay.
You good?
Yeah. I'm fine. What? Oh, well, maybe we should bring it a little closer.
We'll make sure you
Like you can see us more.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, y'all. This is the High Priestess of Love, and I would like to introduce my good friend, D. Anthony. D to the Anthony. Okay.
To the Anthony. I like that.
D. Anthony. Get it right. Don't put it together.
Yeah.
D. Anthony. Yeah. So, D. Anthony, I wanted to speak to you today to kind of catch up with you, for you to basically enlighten us.
Okay.
Enlighten us about, you know, you've always have been a forward thinker. You've always have been encouraging. You are definitely a pillar of the community, a mentor, just an overall positive person that people tend to gravitate to.
Wow, thank you.
So, tell us what's going on with you today.
Ooh.
Today, like, where have you been? You started telling me something about Tennessee.
Oh, yes.
Let's start there.
Let's start there.
Okay.
All right, so I went down to Tennessee for Pesach, which is considered Passover, right? Just to default, I am Hebraic in the Hebrew community, Israelite. However, disclaimer, all are not the same. We kind of do it just a tad bit different, even though we believe in the laws, statutes, and commandments. But there's certain things, of course, like with any other thing that we might say, we can't say, for instance, women speakers or those that teach. You know, we thoroughly believe in that, and some don't. You know, so that's really just a matter of, to me, your education and your information that you're receiving. With mine, I believe in the liberation when it comes down to the Most High using women, because all throughout the whole Torah of the Bible, it claims it. You know, it's not like it don't say it. So sometimes I think that's kind of, I wouldn't like to call it a contradiction, but at the same token, I just think it's people that are unlearned and insecure. So, so we'll say that, right?
Well, definitely overlooked. Let me just interject for a mere second. Like when I went to Ghana, and the guy that was showing me around in Cape Coast, he was like, yeah, I'm going to show you like some very important men throughout history. And I told him, well, what about the women? You know, in different countries, and especially in America, the men are the ones that are uplifted and glorified and taught about. So the women a lot of times are left behind, and there's a lot of influential women that should be put to the forefront, whether they're teaching or they have done, you know, created inventions or whatnot. So go ahead, press on.
So, and like you're right. Although I noticed definitely in Africa, they call the mother, right? So she plays a huge part, you know. And like I said, it's really just what information you're receiving. Okay, so like here in America, women are pivotal to any movement anywhere. I like to say this about women, and especially within creation. Men were taken from the dust, the dirt, basically, right? And women were elevated because they were taken from the rib. So they never had any contact with dirt. I would say usually, if you want to show me a dirty woman, I'll show you she's been with a dirty man.
You right?
You know, I mean,
right?
just, and a lot of people don't like to hear, you know, some things that I might say because it don't quite fit their agenda. However, I don't fit agendas. I fit truth.
Right.
So if he gave it as a gift to never touch the dirt, then she would be a clean vessel. However, you know, that's give or take, or you know, it's just based on whoever feels what they feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
at the moment.
At the moment, right? So this week, going down to Tennessee, we gathered probably about over 500 that attended this event. It's so wonderful.
Men and women.
Men and women.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'll tell you something that was so amazing. So I go to attend Assembly Great Awakening, Indy, which we have like 3 assemblies here that a lot of people know of, but that's just within our assemblies. So going down, I thought one of the most profound moments was Dr. Howard, he's over the Great Awakening International. Dr. Howard and his Isha, Tawana Howard. If you would have just been there to feel the experience of a oneness, and literally where both of them stayed still on the same stage, and they both was like on different sides of the stage. They intermixed their message that kind of dealt with curses, curses up on our family.
Okay.
The way they
the
the way they broke that down, and you can go on my page, and I actually posted, right.
I'm gonna have to go and watch
Please,
that.
you it's. I'm telling you, I had one of the most spiritual enlightenments while I was there over this past week, just to watch them in their element together. And when he said something, it's like she just boom, and when she says something, he's like boom, right? So you got this whole intermix going on on one accord. So it was just not just reaching men or just reaching women; it was reaching families, right? Because when you get a chance to see the dynamics of what the Most High initially had for us and are in store for us, that means this family structure where it works as a team,
right?
And of course, being in America, they pretty much went totally against the team, right? They went totally individual, and that's a whole nother story. Don't let me get started there.
Because that'll take me on a whole nother tangent. You know, when you start talking about the divide of the family, it started before, it really started before we got on the ship.
That's true.
It started before we got on the ship. It actually started before we was even captured, when they was deciding who they was going to sell off. They started dividing then.
Yes, they did. And you're definitely right. As a matter of fact, I have some of my African friends that, and they Hebraic. So, and what I love about that is, we had our last, I think we was doing Sukkot, and one of our African
Maybe what's Sukkot?
Okay, so that's another Hebrew. Excuse me. It's another Hebrew holy day. Okay, so the difference with holy days is holy days was first, and then holidays came.
Okay.
Right? Now, I want you to notice something about holidays, because they have engrafted us so much into these holidays, which are pagan, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you notice, they took the Y out of holy days and put an I. We know when you put an I in anything, that means you're self-serving, right?
Yeah.
So things were done strategically, because once you take the Y, which stands for Yahuwah or Yahusha, which Yahusha is Jesus' name, the original name, and Yahuwah is the name of our Elohim, or our God, right? So because it really gets complicated, and us as so-called African Americans, because we have been embodied in this Christianity movement, that we have missed the whole fact of why it was strategically done to us, and why did they force us to pretty much join this religion.
Well, and that's the thing. I have a think about that too, because I started to think about, Christianity was the religion that we were given when we came over here. And don't get me wrong, Christianity brought us through so much. We was able to survive and still be able to make it through, and we are the proof in the basically the proof in the pudding of people that had strength and had something to look forward to. But there were religions that our ancestors had prior to being captured, and we cannot discount those. And I think a lot of times people claim them to be witchcraft or whatever else it is, because of the lack of knowledge, the lack of knowledge and the lack of acceptance, and then also the brainwashing that comes along with it. When I went to Cape Coast Castle, and they talked about how Portugal was the one who basically started it off with the castle and stuff, it made me feel like, okay, so we need to rethink this whole thing and how we view it, and then make our decisions on. And it doesn't necessarily have to be us deciding to be a part of a specific religion. I believe that you can be spiritual, you can have your beliefs, but we all need to work together as one.
I can agree. And I tell you something else with that now you mentioned. Because I've been on a journey of religion. I've dealt with Muslims. I've dealt with all types of religions, right? Trying to get an understanding, because really you have to know a little bit of this and a little bit of that to really come up to a real decision. That's why he tells us to study to show yourself approved, right? That you can rightfully divide what is true. So when I look at it and I say, hold it, well, with me, even as a boy, I've always yearned to know who we were prior to coming here. Now, a lot of people, even though I've done a trace on my history, I'm still working on my dad's, but I have a good panoramic view of my ancestors. My mother is 100% the bloodline of Tikar, which are another Hebraic group. And of course, we also have indigenous here, what they call Indians, which of course they were nothing but really Africans that came here and migrated here, right? So when I look at where this root started, it was not a religion, it was a culture.
You're right.
Right? So when you're in a culture, what they did was they stripped our culture when we came here. But it wasn't, I used to blame them for it, right? But I'm not going to give them that much credit, right? Because I learned, as the Most High keep revealing, it was when he said in Deuteronomy 28:68, he said, because of what your ancestors did, because of our rebelliousness to keep on praising and worshiping other gods like we tend to do, and mixing and mingling that he told and forbid us to do, he said, because I promised back to Abraham that if you continue to do this, I'm going to send you to a foreign land. And he said, I'm going to send you back to Egypt on a ship. So the amazing thing about it, when you start putting it together, they always kind of keep us out of the Old Testament. I never understood that, because the Old Testament is actually the Torah. Or even if you say in Muslims, they all study the first 5 books. Why? Because those were scriptural based books. Those right there is where you really will find your key answers, versus they kept us in the New Testament. Well, we're New Testament Christians. It's like, why would you keep us in the New Testament? But if you keep us in the New Testament, then you would never ever be able to trace your history. So the reason why we were able to conform so easy, it wasn't that we was told they had to be beat into it, is because it's almost like you take a layer of, you have a whole foundation of truth, and you have a layer of lies. So when you can change, when you can kind of put this enough truth in there, it'll make the people say, hey, that's our story. I seen that in one of the movies, and the Africans came over and they was like, well, you guys are doing the same things we do. So it made them feel like, well, maybe you guys are a part of us, or maybe you know what I'm saying? They give you just enough, and that was Amistad. You ever go back to watch that? And it was what they were doing, but the reason why they were doing it is because they stole the information from Africa, and then they begin to do it. So once you see that, you be like overwhelmed, like, hold on now, how would y'all know how to do this, right? Because we was never caught into documenting things, you know what I mean? Because it was our culture. That's just how we live. So when I begin to do my studying as far as with who we are as a people, the DNA, he leaves us enough breadcrumbs that by the time you get to picking each crumb up, you already begin to make a sandwich. And then it'll give you something to eat, right? Yeah. So, now I'm eating. I'm eating the bread now, you know what I mean? Because now the joy is watching us reunite as family. When I see Israel now, he said this was going to happen. Let me give you a quick case in point. He said in 400 years, he was going to come back and show you who his people was, right? 400 years to the exact date that they pretty much say from 1619 to 2019. I seen everybody on Facebook saying, oh, this is really a miracle. They have 5 minority women that got all titles of beauty, from Miss International, Miss America, Miss Teen, and so on. 5 was, so I seen this on there, and I said, he's starting to play this thing out. The first thing he did in 2019 was crown his queen. We missed it. Why? Because we're still looking through Christianity eyes. Now, yes, did Christianity bring us? Yes, Christianity in itself didn't bring us. It was the Most High said, I would never leave you nor forsake you. I promised you I was going to send you over. I promised you was going to be a slave. It told us there, I'm going to send you to a foreign land, back to Egypt, and you will be a slave. No one will buy you. You will have all the curses. Who have all the curses? We had all the curses. Who everything in America, I don't care what it is, we are the highest of this and the highest of that, but the smallest percentage, right? But the reason why America has to keep us here is simply because the blessings is upon the people, not upon the land.
But you know what? So I think me and you were, y'all. We used to work together. So with us working together, we've had several conversations together.
Indeed.
So I think me and one of my clients had the conversation is, when do we move back? When do we start moving back? We're being called to move back and go back to our land. So if we're being called back, at what point do you decide to leave all these things behind? Because the bigger plan is Africa, the people in Africa have been told a certain thing about us, a certain glazed overview that we are African Americans are this and African Americans are that. But we've been told that Africa,
right?
Like when I tell people that I've gone to Africa, they like, oh well, how safe did you feel? And I'm just, I feel I feel a certain type of way when people ask me that question. But thing of it is, I realize people just don't know, and you don't know until you've gone over there and realize, okay, this is just like walking down the street in your own neighborhood, like. Now, there are some things that aren't as pleasing as far as like roads, but at the end of the day, the roads on 38th Street ain't always 100%.
All over Indiana.
You see what I'm saying? They got potholes, like, just like they do in Ghana.
Yeah, yes.
Now, they ain't dirt, but they potholes and they tear up your wheel well.
Hey, listen, when I get over there, I don't even mind riding a mule or a horse. It don't even matter because the thing about it is.
Wait a minute, I ain't seen nobody do. You see what I'm saying? People they get their steps in.
Yeah.
But I ain't seen nobody riding a mule. I ain't saying they don't. I'm just saying I ain't seen it.
Like I said, when you get to that place, and I'm glad you asked that because right now in the Hebraic community, it is when I say the communication right now between the Hebrews, because right now, see, they've been practicing the culture of Yasharel or Israel from all their entire life, right? When I tell you the communication between America and Africa right now is on a whole new level, I kid you not. In fact, I got videos. I got a ton of videos to show you, but a ton of videos of letting you see just how much Africa is waking up to who they are as being the true Israelites, to now having this bond that's going on with African Americans. I have a lot of Hebraic people that's already moved back to Africa, right?
But wait a minute, just like we have been brainwashed, they've also have been brainwashed as well.
That's true.
So going over there, you realize that, you African American, you like, oh, I'm black, you black, oh, we can get along together, we can come to, no, but they still see us as foreigners.
They do.
Not all. Let me say not all. Some are okay with it. A lot of them, I just felt like, are not. They still see a difference and they see us as outsiders. So I think it takes for the group coming together. But what I was going to say in regards to him sending us over here, he didn't send us over here for no reason.
No.
So one of the reasons I feel like we're over here is we're supposed to take our resources and our skills and we're supposed to take it back and build up Africa.
That's right. I totally, you have no argument with me when it comes down to that because it's a bigger picture. And I think what's harsh there is because just like you say over in Africa, and even in African Americans, they both have a hard time trying to understand their greatness because we have been taught by from one entity, two different things, right? So something interesting happened when I was doing my undergrad. We decided to have a forum with Africans and then African Americans. We sat in a huge room. And when we got to debunk everything of all the rumors that they were told before they got here and we were told before they came. And when you get to talking in one room and you get to seeing all the lies and all the mess, it was such an enlightening time. I mean, we really embraced each other. And that was a start of it. Just seeing that when you sit down and really start pulling back that onion, you'll see where the foul smell comes from, right? And so now what's happening with the community, especially within the Hebraic community, and I keep going back to that because this Christianity is not going to move like this. In fact, I can show you, like I said, I can show you countless videos now where Nigeria goes to Congo, and he's telling us they stole our identity. These are videos now that are springing up all over the place because
the Nigerians stole the
no Nigerian going to Congo telling them that Christianity stole their identity. So this talk is not minimum. In fact, it's threatening to a lot of people right now because now they have to explain. When you see things like Kanye and Kyrie, these are things that's supposed to happen because not only they put it on a big platform, and mind you, the video that Kyrie shared is one of my assembly brothers that wrote the book Hebrews to Negroes. Now, what's so important with that is because that is what is probably the bestseller at Amazon right now. But everything in the book,
I might have to get that on audio book. Is it on audio?
It's on audio book.
Okay.
And when I say this guy Ron Dalton, he has a plethora of information, facts that you can't argue. See, the problem is they don't want to talk about it publicly. They want to do it behind the scene, right? Because
anything that uplifts the people and can spark any movement, why would you want it out there on any platform in order to further brings the people together? Yeah. They want to further divide us.
Yes.
That's why they want the black men to continue to denounce the black woman.
Yes, I agree.
That's always the end goal.
Yeah.
If we come together, then we leave it.
Then we out of here. Hey, let me. Trust me, we are almost out of this piece. We are running. And I promise you, as sure as we're sitting here discussing this, that the revelation that I know I have received from the Most High, that this thing is coming quicker than we expect. Right? I'm
gonna show you. I'm gonna share with you something.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't told a lot of people this, but it is what it is. I'm a seer.
Okay.
So I actually had a vision of everybody like trying to make a mad dash to move back to Africa.
You seeing correct.
So exactly when it happens, I'm not for sure, but I visually seen all of us trying to leave at one time.
It's called an exodus.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right about that, and you're seeing correct because it's really spreading like wildfire. I think now every 3 people I speak to, they're certainly making a movement with Israel. And like I said, this thing is not new. If you just go on the internet and just really just type in, it will take you all over the place. It'll take you on such a hunt of people waking up, even Caucasians telling us. I mean, I got a video that a guy, of course, he was in Israel, and he was a Palestine brother. He's begging African Americans to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "You don't know who you are. We know who you are. You are the chosen ones that they speak about in the Bible."
But you know what? I definitely know of being on this spiritual journey that we want our people to wake up so bad, but they're not going to wake up until they're ready.
Yeah.
And it may be a certain event. It may be because, I don't know, you done lost a loved one, you going through a divorce, or you get deathly sick. I don't know. Sometimes COVID has brought people to propel them into their spiritual journey.
That's true.
But until you reach that point, you just gonna continue to not pay attention.
Yeah.
Just like me and you was talking about the signs and synchronicities.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure our ancestors, spirit guides, or whoever else been leading us and guiding us, and we just ain't been looking, been paying attention. Just going about my day.
Exactly. And you know what? Hey, you're right. And as a matter of fact, he told us that we were, and this is biblical. It's not like this is not even in the local Bible. He told us you're going to lose your identity.
Mm-hmm.
He told us he was going to strip us, that we were going to be the bottom and not the top. He told us that this was going to happen, and that's what I said. If we couldn't pay attention close enough because our minds was not developed at that time, he stripped us from that. That was the whole point of coming here, is to strip us. They stripped us of our name, our identity, our culture, and those things are so important because even if you do a history in America, if you go back and look at some of the names that were on the slave ship, all of them, the majority of them, they'll be saying Yah. What's important about Yah? Because those are Israelites, right? And these things have been hidden from us. Or you can even see you can go on Google. There's one called Israel Hill. That was what they named the first when the slaves was free, they had a little plantation that they had the little piece of land, and they called it Israel Hill. Why?
Well, if you're able to trace your lineage back to even just the ships, I wasn't able to. Maybe I was using the wrong thing. I was using Ancestry DNA to a certain point and trying to get back to at least the slave ship, but
Yeah.
it is so discouraging,
Yeah.
so draining.
Yeah.
So when I got my results, DNA results of who they say,
Yeah.
and I'm just saying they just because I feel like they manipulate, because
Yeah.
them DNA results have changed so much
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
I've submitted them.
Yeah.
It was so depressing
Yeah.
to the point to where I cried real tears
Yeah.
just because I knew I could only go back so far.
Yeah.
And I think Africans are not, I don't even want to call people from Africa, they are so fortunate to know exactly where they come from, who they people are, for sure.
Yeah.
Their parents, like, they talked.
Yeah. Yeah.
They talked.
Yeah.
My grandparents and them, they don't know where you see what I'm saying? Because nobody talked. So many secrets were held.
Now there we go. Now we're in a whole nother thing.
The secrets, the lies run so deep.
Yeah.
They run so deep that people's lying about your name.
Yeah. Yeah.
The cousin that lived in the house says daughter on the record.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
I know, right? I know.
It's like
harsh.
a
It's
whole.
harsh.
What I feel like I was on, I don't know what mystery show.
I've been there, so I know what you're talking about.
I just like I could only take so much.
Yeah.
So I actually got my African ancestry test, and I have to take that to see if maybe.
Oh, you did. You
Well, actually, I got it in the mail. I have to take it and then submit it.
take it.
So
I've done my mom so far.
Okay.
Like I said, and usually you get like maybe 30% this and maybe 20% this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But mine with my mother, they guarantee 100% T car. I'd never seen. I said 100% to 100%. All the women in the family will be 100% T car. I thought that was really very fascinating. So I'm actually doing my dad's now. I wanted to start with the African heritage or ancestry because they actually pinpoint you back to Africa, right? So I wanted to start there first because I know here, you know, I can go back pretty well because we did a little bit. My aunts, they really they get into that, you know. We have the tree and all that good stuff, so we can go back a pretty ways back. But I know it's difficult because it was designed that way, you know. And like you said, I was looking at records and I was like, well, hold on, why is all these people listed here? So I could totally agree. It's very stressful because you'd be like, now, are they sisters? Are they?
Right.
Make you question everything.
Exactly. I found myself fussing at the phone at 2:00 in the morning. I'm supposed to be asleep, but I done got wrapped up in this phone and these green leaves.
Yes.
And you like, wait a second here.
Wait a minute.
Like, let me take a break from this.
Yeah, yeah, it's depressing.
Yes, it is. It's very.
Which, like you said, I guess the reason why I look at it, and this is me, I think it's because of the freedom he has allowed me to have in my mind, is because I know what he said that was going to happen, right? And I hold on to those words as truth, just because the things that kind of manifest right now are so important to show. Is it real? Is what he said real? And then when I trace, you know, the events, time, the people, and to see how things are shifting. We're in a shifting period right now. And what I love about it is because, yes, a lot of us are not yet, I won't call us awoke, aware, better language. So, and it's just like anything else. When you, everybody does not wake up the same. I remember we come into our job, right?
Yeah.
I got to study each one of y'all. You know, that was my job, right? I had to, you know, you know how it is. You have to study on your job. You're like, So I remember, okay, Tasha's pretty live around about this time. And I gotta wait till she gets some coffee around this time, right? And I'm coming in like, yo, you know what I mean? You know, I'm on 10 in the morning, right?
Trying to tell us about who you done met and the conversations y'all done had.
Life is to me like every moment should be lived.
Most
You know what I mean?
definitely.
So and I come in, I get up in the morning. First of all, I wasn't guaranteed to be up. Second, it's an opportunity for me. And third, the Most High had favor upon me to be here, right? So I wake up with these songs in my head, and I'm grateful because once you've been down a journey, you start to appreciate life a little bit more, right? So when I come in wasting no time. It's depressing enough to come to the job. But you think I'm gonna be depressed coming to the job and then have to deal with the people? No, they didn't come here to hear my problems. So when I come to the job, I come like, I don't probably want to be here. However, I'm here and I'm not gonna let this job steal my joy. See, once you start thinking that way, you're able to kind of get, I think, a little bit more, I wouldn't say favor, but people want to engage, right? And I'm an engager. I like to talk to people simply because if you don't, my mother always taught me a closed mouth does not get fed, right? So I felt like, hey, I'll wait till you wake up, you get your coffee, I'll come back and holler at you in a few more minutes, right? So I took that right there and said, hey, we all are not waking up the same time. So I can't be like, hey, you're a Christian, hey, you're not even doing this, No, I have to give you time to adjust. Because when you wake up, the first thing, you don't just jump out of bed going. Sometimes you might have to get on the end of your bed. You might have to think about it for a minute. You might stretch. But everybody has their own technique of waking up. Right. So we have to give us that time because we've been under this spell for a long time. And so as he is right now waking us, I'm loving watching people start to develop into this nuance of their selves, their inner self, coming back to who they really originally are. I mean, because I look at them and there's one Mexican guy, he was trying to tell us about, why they kind of, I guess, what they do together. And I'm like, let me tell you something. To be honest, a guy told me this, Filipino friend of mine, in the military. I asked him, I said, bro, why don't y'all come and get the brothers when we go on detachments? Y'all always have y'all little room together. You know how it is military, right? Y'all always get your room together. Y'all got your food. Y'all cook together. You share rental cars. I said, why don't y'all invite the brothers? And he's like, oh, it ain't like we don't want to invite the brothers. He said, but come on, let's go walk it. So we go out to the courtyard. Let me tell you, that's why I said I don't mind a good education. Educate me. So I'm looking out there. So I said, okay, we out here. And I'm looking around, everybody's doing their thing in their own groups. And he said, all right, I just want you to tell me where you guys are at. And I looked around. Okay, we over here with them. We a little bit over here, maybe one or two over here. So I started to get the picture. I said, oh, okay. And he said, listen. He said, we don't mind. He said, the reason why we do things together, he said, first of all, we took everybody that comes to this country took the blueprint from African Americans. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, because from the outside, when you guys were in the struggle, y'all stayed such a close knit that it was to see y'all overcome to get to the status and then split. That was alarming to them because they knew the beginning how strong we was as a people to endure what we had to endure. But when you salivate for something for so long, you begin to want what they have, right? And so that was the whole thing. They made us salivate to the point where we start to look at each other. Because when you in something with somebody for so long, you want to get away from it because now you're stressed.
Okay, so is that why some people, some Hispanics that are still in Mexico and whatever Hispanic speaking countries, you know what I mean? Is that why they don't too much care for us because they feel like we have squandered the opportunity that we have been given?
Yes. We become bougie like our oppressor. We now start taking on that face. Now the thing I see now is that's another misunderstanding. Even Mexico, right? Mexico started out African. All our roots are over there, right? Yeah. And now truth is starting to unfold. So I'm seeing a lot of Hispanics are going to Israel. Matter of fact, they have one. They have oh wow, they have an assembly somewhere off of Washington right now.
Okay.
And see, they're buying what's happening. Like if you go to IUIC, which is another. I mean, they're huge. When I say they're huge, they're huge. When they walk down the street, you're talking thousands of black men. They don't even have their women with them. They have men marching, right? And it's so intimidating to people. Why? Because they see in this movement, and they command, just like every Hebrew, you command this thing, because the Most High said, once you come back together, then I will heal your land. The reason we're being healed is because men are denouncing what they were. Whatever agenda we had before, we're denouncing it now, and they're coming back to the Most High. So they incorporate Hispanics because they were a part of the movement. So now you see them teaming up together. So the things that once were, when it comes down to how we felt about each other, those, once again, just like Africans, or the so-called, what we call Africans and African Americans, it was something that kept us divided. It was a technique that kept us divided, just like with them, the same way. So now it's kind of like the truth is spreading out, that people now are seeing it from a different perspective and seeing just how much in common we are. Because I've always told people all my life, I said, you can look at this Africa as being, hey, well, they just use Africa. I said, but there will be a time where the first will be last and the last will be first. That wasn't just something you quote out of the Bible. That means where the beginning started is where it's going to end. So I always tell people, you keep your eye on where the future is, not where the present is, because it has to go back to the root. Because everything there, the world cannot run without. They can run without the world. That's the difference. So as they're waking up now, or they becoming aware of who they are, I've noticed so much footage now where they're demanding now, you're not going to treat us the same way you've always treated us. Because like I said, now there's a common denominator that's going on. And I mean, we texting back and forth. They have an African State of the Union that I have privy to be on, to see how they are developing. And these are things. One of my African, he's pretty high up in it. He's just kind of let me get in, on the site. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yes, but from me being in the community and having conversations with people in the community, it's like a lot. And I can only speak to Ghana because that's the only one that I've been to so far. I'm coming for you the rest
I'll be there in October.
Yeah, where are you going in October?
Well, I'm gonna try to do a spree from Ghana to Tanzania.
Okay. Let me hold on. We gonna talk about that. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Because I love traveling. But
Good.
What I was saying was that basically the people in Ghana, when they become of age and it's time for them to go off to college, they leave and never want to return back because of the jobs, the salary pay there, just the struggle that's there. Then they don't want to have kids. They don't want to raise kids there in Ghana.
Yeah.
They don't like the conditions of the roads, just the living overall. So again, us as African Americans, we need to, if they don't have the resources in these particular countries, I don't want to claim that it's our duty, but in the end, we all have to come back over there anyway. So it's best that we start building it up now, as opposed to waiting until we all have to go over there, and then it's like, okay, where we gonna stay?
See,
because we ain't built up the land.
Let me tell you something, just not to cut you, but this is what their 2050 take on how Africa will look. And like I said, just
this is the State of the Union.
The State of the Union.
Okay.
To tap into that, it's like it's so like they have no idea what's coming. I mean, we're talking about they're doing their light systems. They're gonna light it up. They're doing their road structure.
But wait a minute. But if you think of it like this, these are the plans that they have by themselves, right?
It's a kind of this is just a migration of all countries.
Right.
They're trying to blend. They're even trying to blend into one president.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is us, if us as African Americans can bring our innovativeness,
there you go,
and our skills,
there you go,
over,
not the drama.
It will be sooner than 2050.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. And that's just an estimate of as they're building, right?
Yeah.
But I totally agree, and I think that's to me the most imperative thing is us to bring these skills back home. Even though let me see, Degrassi. He just said something I thought was very unique because I didn't expect it from him. But he's talked about Africans, right? he debunked so much about what has been told about Africans. To they are the smartest of everything.
And they are.
They are.
They are very smart, but they want to have our American education. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, you were talking about, oh, you think the education in America is so much better. Well, why don't I bring teachers over there to teach the kids?
There you go. To
give them the education that you think that you want, because the test, the education we get over here is to take these tests that's supposed to
garbage.
Measure on how smart that they think that we are, but in actuality, they're not made for the African Americans. They're made for the other people.
But it's the illusion they have put to the whole world.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. What I love, like I said, what I'm loving now is stripping the truth. The truth is, you can only tell a lie for so long, right? Mm-hmm. I have a lot of people that now I have a friend that's like, well, she's kind of living this way, or she's living her life. She's living her truth. I said, how can she be living her truth when she was taught a lie? When you that terminology to me is deadly, because you got a lot of kids around here saying, I'm living my truth. No, you can't live your truth if you never knew what your truth was, right? You're really living your lie and then accepting it as the truth. They say you tell a lie long enough, it will become the truth.
Right.
So that's kind of what's happening. So we got a lot of kids running around here living a lie, claiming it's their truth, right? So my thing is to educate the lost. My thing is, let me tell you your truth. And it's hard sometimes to receive your truth, because it counteracts everything you are, right? It strips you for the very nature that you've built up this whole illusion in your mind of who you are.
You got to be reprogrammed.
You have to be reprogrammed. And we all have to be reprogrammed, simply because we were all born we're born into a lie, right? We're born a lie. So when you sit back and say, Abiyah, strip me for everything I know. I don't care if it hurts me. I don't care if it beats me down. I need your truth. Why? Because your truth was my beginning. But somewhere along the line, from my beginning, this onset of lies start to occur. And that's where you get these generational curses we were just talking about, right? So until we are able to accept the mere fact that we've been lied to. In fact, it's wild, because a lot of us cannot hear truth unless it comes from a Caucasian face. Case in point. So I tell people, I say, well, I do the laws, I study the laws and statutes and the commandments. Well, why would you put yourself back under that prison? I'm like, actually, it's not a prison. Actually, it is the most liberty you're going to ever get. Why? Because he made us a certain way to do a certain thing, right? So if you sit back and say, well, the Most High said, that all the laws was taken away. No, he's never said that. And your Bible didn't even say that. It said he came to fulfill the law. That means there were still laws that need to be fulfilled, right? So when you really do studying on what you think you know, it would strip back your information to the point where you're like, hold on, wait a minute. Why would he say strip the laws, but we have to obey the laws of the land? We complain about the laws, that how many laws he had, which it wasn't really that many, but we obey all these laws here in America, right? And so
the speed limit.
Let me tell you something. They said, and matter of fact, let me tell you what one told me one time. One said, I said, well, I didn't know that was a law. And he told me ignorance of the law is no excuse. Let me tell you something. When they bold enough to tell you that, it's only for them to put in our minds that there is no law. And the first thing I say, well, what is sin? And they said, well, sin is the transgression of the law. Well, how is a transgression of the law if there's no law? Get that. So that means I'm free to sin and do what I want to do because the Most High has no laws, right? That's what you're telling me. The Most High has no laws, and I don't have to obey none because I'm not transgressing against nothing because there is no law to transgress against, right? So it's like that's to me, that's an oxymoron. That don't even make sense if you even think about it, right? Of course there's got to be some kind of law and order, because everything we do in life has law and order. I don't care what it is. Even in your own home, you set laws and order. Let your kids come and do something you said don't do. That law has been violated. That means I'm going to bust your tail. You know what I mean? Hold on, I thought it was no laws. Why you get laws and he don't get laws? It's like, think about it. If we all make laws, why would the Most High say sin and I'll forgive you because I created something? I'm the creator. Why do I have to conform to your ways when I made you in my image that you conform to my ways? So when we look at it, it's difficult for us because we don't want to accept the mere fact that we don't have the freedom of choice that we think we have. And in fact, in actuality, the freedom is being able to live for the Most High, know your purpose, know your mission while you're on the planet. This is nothing but a test. It is a matrix. It's something to show us to see what we're going to do while we're here. Are we going to call up on our Yah status, or are we going to live, with Satan? As you see this demonic movement that is beginning to be like in your face, it should let you know right then and there, okay, now I need to engage in more of what he wants me to do, what my purpose is, and not just be here. Because if you're just going to be, alive, that's nothing. You got to know how to live. And there's a way of living, because there is an order, and he gave us an order. But the problem is we enjoy this freedom. It's just like eating swine. I've been off swine for like 30 years, right? And when I look at swine, he said, well, you can eat anything as long as you pray on it. That is not so. You have to really do some study of what Shaul or Paul was talking about. Swine was never meant for us to consume. Swine is what they call a bottom feeder. It's to clean the earth. You can put a dead body in front of a pig and he'll eat that thing from the rooter to the tuber.
No, thank you.
I'm just going to tell you what I know. They eat that thing, they would tear that thing up, and you know what they are?
I'm not even going to ask how you know that, but let's press on.
Right? I still speak. No. I came off a post road, okay? So you got to know what these things are, and why did he forbid us? Because in the Bible, it also says, he's coming back for the swine eaters first. Because it's something to say, you're putting this in my temple that I gave you, my temple, right? Why would you put something detestable that he detests in your system? Why? Is because when we came to America, you know what they did? Well, we're going to give them exactly what goes against their law. Their law says they can't eat this. And the first thing they did was give it to us. And of course, as being African Americans, so-called, we know how to make boo-boo and make it turn into a dessert. You know what I mean? So, we are that bad, you know what I mean? That you wouldn't know what you was eating. Be like, oh, this is the best. You know what I mean? But he was saying, during our dark time, during our curses, that's what we had to eat. We was forced to eat it. But I seen something recently I thought was intriguing. Well, it's been a while. Speaking of the face that our oppressor wears, I said, well, let me listen to Joel Osteen, because a lot of people love Joel Osteen, right? And Joel Osteen, he always make you feel good. He don't probably say no scriptures, but by the time you get done, you be like, thank you, God, you know what I mean? Because he just made me feel like I can go another day, you know what I mean? Which is great, you know what I mean? Everybody has their own mission, right? But Joel says something that was so alarming to me. I listened to one of his messages, and he was talking to his people, and he said, I got my message today, a lot of you are not going to like. And I was like, Joel, who's not gonna like your messages? It's nothing but a feel-good message, right? So Joel says, I've been doing my studies. Basically, there's some things that I have to share with you guys. So he started talking about that swine is not good for us.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh, I got the video. He said swine's not good for us. He said, and bacon. I know you love bacon. Everybody's laughing. You know how we do. Everybody's laughing. Oh man, you're kidding, right? So Joel said, no, I'm not kidding. Joel said to crawfish, he stays away from crawfish. He stays away from pork. Any creeping things that's in the Bible. He said, as far as me and my family, we will obey the dietary laws. Now, for somebody like Joel to talk about a dietary law, when we're in a land that said that the Most High had canceled out all his laws, it speaks volumes to what they really know versus what they're willing to share.
Exactly.
So when I seen it, I thought that was so amazing. So when I need to talk to one of my African Americans, sometimes I have to give them something they're going to listen to. Even when they can't hear me. Well, maybe you can hear Master. If you can't hear the Master, maybe you'll hear Master. So I'll go ahead and pop that in, and they'll be like, oh wow, Joel said that. Yeah, even Joel, who don't do a lot of scriptures, know to follow the dietary laws. Why? Because these dietary laws is why our bodies will heal. Because you're now going back to the things that we was naturally supposed to consume, right?
Okay, so which takes me into, are you still collecting heirloom seeds?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
So
I am. You better. They making things with no seeds now, so.
You know what? And I had talked to a lady the other day at a school. We'll talk about that later off camera.
All right.
But yeah, she was saying how like watermelon seeds help cure cancer. She had found that out, and she was like, but nothing in the stores has seeds. And I said, I know.
Imagine that.
But let you take your butt to Ghana. When I tell you everything got seeds.
Everything.
Well, wait a minute.
No.
So I was eating a lot of fruit. So I think
Tastes different.
it does. It doesn't taste as sweet as it does over here. And that's because they have so genetically modified things to where it is just like, so this is what a watermelon is supposed to taste like. And then, so what did they put in the other? When I say I've been coming across so much information, it is just not only enlightening, but just like, okay, so y'all trying to kill us, but that's a whole other thing. You see what I'm saying?
In a nutshell, I mean,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you keep it real.
You see what I'm saying? I'm just like, okay, so I see what it is. So I haven't eaten pork in several years.
Good.
And I don't cook beef.
Good.
I don't cook pork, and I try my best to try to be vegetarian, vegan.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say about being over in Ghana is that I felt like when I went over there at first and I was eating a whole lot of fruit, I felt like I was going through a detox.
Yes.
Like
cleansing,
but then like the mental cleansing, like just feeling a whole lot safer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is why I feel like we all need to go over there at least just to visit. At least just to visit, to just see how much security you have. Like, you don't feel like you can't walk down the street to go to the corner store. Or to the little, I call it bodega, but it's definitely not a bodega. But it reminds me of a bodega because they got water, they got candy. You got stuff that Sam's Club got, but you not in a big warehouse. Right. You in this little container. But just decompressing and cleansing.
Yes.
It's just, you just can't imagine it until you actually get there and you're free to be able to do so, to release. To be able to leave that baggage that you have on your back from a day-to-day in America.
I agree.
So you plan on going to Tanzania and
Ghana. I have like I said, I have quite a few friends that's already there, right? That's been there for some years. One's is in Tanzania. And
okay, so wait a minute. The reason why I'm wanted to make sure I touch back on that is because I'm going to Kenya soon, and then while I'm in Kenya, you know, I could use my visa for Tanzania and Zanzibar.
I'll
so I'm going to get there.
I'll definitely thank you because he's like this explorer. He took his sons, and he got his grandsons, but he adopted his son to be his sons. Took them over there just to show them how life is supposed to be. And he's been over there just living.
The easy living in Africa is, don't get me wrong, like, this is all that we have grown to know until you start to go out, venture out and go to other countries to see different cultures. But the living in Africa is so, you're not worried about all these material things. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have nice things, but to a certain extent, it's like, am I doing all this for the nice things, or are you more concerned about life? Like, at some point, I feel like you should choose one.
I agree. I think you're hitting a great point. And I think that's because we have been taught this. This is just taught behavior, where it gives us status. Like me, I'm not one.
You still broke at the end of the day. You can't.
You hear me?
You see what I'm saying? People like, it's too many people out here talking about, oh, I want to go to Africa, but I can't afford to. Well, you got this house. You got this nice car. You got all these clothes and shoes. Like, I'm to the point to where I'm in the process of moving, but I done start getting together. I done gave away so many clothes. I'm about to purse all these shoes. Like,
You can do it.
Wait a minute, I'm
have your
trying
own
to
store and go ahead and make that.
But
extra.
but that's the thing. I'm not willing to wait and hold
Just
on
wanna
to
just
the
go ahead and
baggage.
gift it.
Yes,
Nice.
just go ahead and give it away because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
when I was in Ghana, I realized I had 2 large luggage bags and a carry-on, and I kept having to remind myself until I actually got it that I have everything that I need.
That's right.
I have everything that I need.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I was there for like 2 months and 3 weeks, but when I say I remixed them outfits and made it work, I made it work.
You know what I mean?
To the point nobody was, but
They don't know.
you see what I'm saying? They're. I ain't even gonna touch on that. Most of the time, and I ain't gonna say all the times, people are more concerned with the person, and I think we put these constraints on ourselves that you think that you're being judged or you think that you're being received a certain way because of what you have on. No, it's about the aura that you carry.
That's
it's
right.
about the person
That's right.
that you are.
That's right.
And a lot of times who you are inside overshadows anything that you can have on or what you say out of your mouth.
That's
Your
a fact.
energy will proceed before you even come in the room. Like,
That's right. That's right.
so with that being said, I felt comfortable once I got it that I have everything. Like D'Anthony, when I say I even had all the herbs that I needed, because I had brought like 5 tinctures with me.
Yeah.
When I say, because I would think it was one of them that I wanted to take, and I was like, well, what I'm gonna do, because I can't get Amazon out here. And so whatever,
Right, good
but
thing.
you know what it says. I was like, what I'm gonna do, and then Spirit said, look in your bag, and I looked at my bag. I said, I started crying because I was like, it reminded me I have everything
you need.
I have everything that I need. I have and not only that, like I was telling one of my friends, like the medicines that you have to take in order to go over there, like they want you to take malaria pills.
Yeah.
They have a fruit called asana, and it's like orange. To me, it looks like it's not, but it looks like not a nectarine. Yeah, I forget. It's like a little orange thing, not like an orange, but it's like orange color.
Okay.
It can treat malaria.
Oh wow. See, they
So
have
they
everything
have-
to treat whatever.
They have stuff there. They have the fruits. They have the herbs. They have everything there that you need. So, but yeah, and then you really don't have to buy clothes. You don't really have to bring any clothes because they have clothes there.
That's right, and I love.
But I done went to the market. When I say that place is jumping,
I know it
I got
is.
a TikTok video that I made, and when I say the market be crazy,
Wow.
the market be crazy. Now, what I was, it was hard to get a good salad. You can't just go to the restaurant and get a salad. It's a lot of rice going on.
Yeah.
But if you go to the market, you can go and make your own salad.
That's all I need.
You see what I'm saying? And a lot of fruits, a lot of.
I know. See, that's why I yearn.
it makes me just so happy inside.
Yeah, that's the thing. It does make you happy.
Reliving it, talking about it.
Yeah, you're out. You knew how it was to leave filth and baggage and really be able to free your mind and go to another level that you really can't reach here in the States, because we are so materialistic that we can't even be comfortable in our own skin without covering it.
But you know what? Staying here, or just being, I ain't saying staying here because I ain't staying here, but
Okay.
but just being here in this environment, it takes so much work.
Yes, it
It
does.
takes meditating.
Yes.
It takes like you blocking so much out
Right.
that when you are able to release it and leave it on the plane or wherever you decide to leave it at, when you go to, and let's not even just say Africa. Yes, I am Africa. Yeah, Africa is special to me. But just even going to like the other countries and being able to even take some of what they have to offer us in these other countries, their culture, and being able to utilize, whether it's learning about their religion or their herbs or what they do to uplift their community, their families. It's just travel, people. Travel.
Get out. You don't just go down the block. Really get out of here.
Stop buying them Jordans.
You know what I mean? And matter of fact, don't buy them. Invest if you're going to do anything, which I'm just not a fan. However, I'll put that on the record.
But you know what? Don't get me wrong. I'm all for investing, but people say invest in yourself. But sometimes these memories that you can never get back, these experiences that you can never get back by investing in traveling, like, I mean, it's needed. It's needed. You can pass on these stories. You can you just know that there's so much more out there once you experience other cultures.
Yeah, that's true.
Life is bigger than just you.
And that's the whole thing. And that's what I think I was glad as far as the military. They gave us a little bit of expansion at an early age, right? I will say that
Most
that was
definitely.
like, you know what I'm saying? It opens your mind to want to see. Because if you get out of your community, you see so much and you be like, oh, I want to venture more, right? You know, so certain places
like a
I've been,
craving.
it is. You can't stop. It's like, because when you look around here and you say, boy, these guys been around here and they never left the state, you feel so bad, right? Because you're like, you don't even know what living is, you know what I mean?
But that's that programming.
But that's the program.
Yeah,
right.
That, like you said, that's the quote unquote matrix. It's the I'ma work every day, all day, and just never experience anything. Because I'm still stuck in this rat race that it will not be I.
My parents didn't go. My parents didn't go, and you just get set in this mindset.
And talk negatively about the people that do go.
Will. I don't need all that. Yes, you do. You need that because you're missing who you are. It's the world is so big, and a piece of us is everywhere. You know, but if you don't venture out, you only have that little piece that you've been working with for all. You know, so I definitely encourage people to get out, go see things, study, and study.
But you know what, the thing, me and my spiritual friend was talking when we had lunch prior to me coming here, is that studying is so much better or you're so excited about it when it's something that you're actually interested in.
True.
If you are not interested in finding out which goes back to being, you know, people awaken at different times.
Right.
If you're not interested in knowing about who you are, where you come from, you know, other opportunities, you're not going to be excited about learning.
No, you won't. And I know people that are like that. They're stuck in, and like I said, it's not for everybody, and everybody is not going to go to the same place.
And some people will have to be left behind.
Some will have to be left behind. I mean, countless stories about that, and it's unfortunate. But all you can do is just wish people well on their way. And me, I'm not gonna browbeat you to do anything. Right? I'm just gonna simply try to give you some encouragement and pray your day is all you need it to be, and your enlightenment is all it should be. And therefore, you know, you can make your decision at the end of the day. Everybody has a choice, right? And so I can't be attached. All I can do is just make sure I'm living my best life and making sure I can be an example for people. And, you know, and my main concern, you know, I do a lot of counseling, and I deal with a lot of teenagers. And, you know, a lot of them, it's kind of like a drawing well. I find myself having a lot of kids. But I take pride.
People, period, are drawn to you.
You know. I don't know why. Let me tell you the headache, no, but, you know, but what a blessing, you know. I had to accept that. At first it was one of those things where it was like, you know, you drain yourself to the point where you lose yourself. But then I say sometimes losing yourself is really to find yourself. You know, because I realized in my life that all the things that the Most High has done and kind of have broken me down or let me see so much, be in so many people's lives. I sometimes they ask, how do you know so many people? I say, I don't know. But I think I made myself available for people. I really have taken that on as a mission. I think I did my mom. I watched my mom, and I used to literally hate watching her doing things when it comes down to people. So back in the day when I was young.
Let me find out that's you now.
It is.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, that's the scary part. At first I was like, oh no, I'm never gonna do that. Because I remember when we was little, because it was taking a lot of time, I felt like, from me as the youngest, right? So we used to have this thing back in the day. They have you could put a sign with a hand in your window. Oh, that sign was in the window, and people people from all over. A lot of domestic abuse. Women came, and my mother put them up, and make sure they're together. And I watched her do these things, and when I say she's the ultimate experience, I know she knows more people than me, and I know a lot of people, right? But I watched her, how she treated people, the love she gave to people, and it wasn't always reciprocated. I watched that, but then I looked at it and I studied, and I said, well, Yahusha healed 10 people and only one came back and said thank you. So if only one came back and said thank you, I may not get nobody. So I had to embrace the mere fact that when I give something, I let it go, right? I say, if I do it by the heart, they would either appreciate it or they'll get what they need from me, and then they can keep moving. So I kind of got this recycle being going on. And, and I get a lot of people, how do you do what you do and you didn't have that father image? And a lot of young black boys I'm able to talk to simply because my father image was on TV. I took certain characters, from Good Times to Bruce Lee to Muhammad Ali. All these was my father.
You know what?
Little House on the Prairie.
You know what? Don't get me started about just not whether you have one parent that is a single parent, or you have one parent that works so much that is just not present. Just how we have, just because we have not had two parents in the household, how we have had to basically piecemeal of what our ideal person together, whether it's a mother or a father or a role model. We've had to piece together. And the other day I told my aunt how I appreciate her for being not necessarily a role model, but someone that I could look up to, and I could pull things from her that I liked. So me growing up, my mother was still on drugs, so I had to pull from other people, from my daddy's girlfriend, I learned how to cook while being in the military from somebody that was in the Army, and I'm in the Air Force. So somebody that worked in the chow hall, I had to pull from her to learn how to cook, because nobody really taught me how to cook. And granted, I don't know if anyone ever really tried. I will say with my kids, I have tried. I be telling, come in here so we can talk about how to make these grapes.
Yeah, you go.
You see what
I'm saying?
You see what I'm saying? But see, at the end of the day, they didn't want to learn. So now, as a 19 and 20 years old, y'all saying, well, I don't know how to do certain things. I'm like, well, I done tried to show you.
I tried.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yes, so back to
that's ironic you said that, though, is because you look at that as something you were trying to instill in them, and it's ironically how they reject it when they already had it.
You see what I'm saying? But I'm up here growing up as a young girl trying to get piece together of what I think a woman is supposed to be.
Good. Yeah, that's how I deal with a man.
So I think parents, it's important for you to be present, even if it's just a little bit, to show your kids, of what a man or a woman should be. But I guess it starts with self-work within itself too, because if you ain't right with yourself, what are you showing?
You know what? Hey, I had to
Let's
do
not go into counseling, because we have to go into your counseling room.
I know. I'll be right there like, what? Hold on now. And I think that's why I take pleasure in talking, because your story by itself, just that piece you just shared, is so important for the audience to really understand. Is some choose to take this puzzle and not be defeated by it.
You know what? sometimes it can be what God gave you at birth.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes it can be what I think maybe an event or something that gives you what you need for you to no longer accept the foolishness and decide that you want different. But some people fall victim to their circumstance and lean on that and say, well, I can't do this, that, and the other because of my parents weren't this, my parents didn't do that.
Excuses.
No, I am proof that you can do so much more than what everyone else said that you could do, or because of the mode that you were given. You can reject that and you can make your own.
You know what, I love you said that, because my uncle, and I've been trying to keep this rated PG. So my uncle,
yes, please, because we don't know who's gonna see this.
That's right. It's not bad. It's just what he said, and it made sense to me when he told me. He said, so my daughter, one of my cousins, you know how you get to talking, you know, you did this or you didn't do this for me, whatever, you know. So she going off on him, and she was like, I wish I wasn't born. And he just shut her down and said, hold on. He said, if you didn't want to be born, he said, ironically, it's 1 million sperm cells that has to fight and rush to the top. He said, you rush your tail to the top to be here. So that means you had to outrun so many millions of sperm cells to get to the top, to come to life. So you cannot say you don't want to be here when before we came here, you had to get to the top before to be chosen. Right. So to have that and I thought about that. And it's like, you know what, if people really realize that before the conception of being birthed, before the birth, there was a race to get here, you're lying to yourself saying you don't want to be here. You just, when you got here, you didn't want to face the challenges that you had to meet. But however, you outran so many to get here. Just thinking of that by itself should make you want to say, I came here for a purpose. Yeah. Because I was determined. My determination got me ahead of all the rest of these sperm cells to get here. So that means I have a mission and a goal that I need to set. And I think if we tap in and understand that first, it will give us an idea of saying we're here to fulfill a goal. Yeah. You know, so I love the challenge of you saying that we both had these journeys that we could have just said, oh, well, let me just do this because this didn't happen, or this wasn't this, or this wasn't that. You know, we took it and said, hey, you know what? I see something in somebody else that no matter what I got to do to get it, you know, I'm going to try to tap into it. Because you can get all kinds of people out here that can lure you in and mess your whole life up, right? Been there, done that. You know what I mean? But it's really, what can you overcome in all these challenges to be what you were purposed to be. Yeah. You know what I mean? What are you willing to face? What are you willing to conquer? What are you willing to take down to get it? You know? And so I'm thankful for the Most High having grace and mercy upon my life and upon your life for us to be out here still, you know, showing others that, you know, there is a solution. And just because it's dark at a period of time, or just because you didn't have this or you had that, does not mean you can't surface to the top, because you already beat it once before. And if you beat it then, you can beat it now. Yeah, it's most definitely not always pretty. No, it's not. It's not always pretty. But you know what thing is, people tend to be watching when it's pretty, but you don't see. You don't see that story. Oof. No, we'll gossip about it. But to me, if you're not willing to, and this is me, if I'm not willing to actually find your walk, I don't really want to put my name and my mouth on you, on your journey. Because if I'm not willing to see your foundation, then I'm really just a summary reader. I don't read the book. I just go over here and try to get a quick glance. You try to go to the end. Yeah, before you. That's how a lot of people do. That's why we messed up. Well, matter of fact, you don't go to the end. You go where I'm still writing. You know what I mean? You don't know what's coming in them pages. You don't even know what's coming in. The blank pages. Hello. Hey. See, this is why we couldn't get nothing done at the Social Security. I don't know about him, but I was getting my work done. Yeah, she be just talking and just you know, multitasking. Yeah, that's how the women do. This black women, honey, we multitask. Yeah. We done cook dinner. Boy, you hear me? We done worked. We cooking while we at work in the crock pot. Let me But that is the beautiful thing about the black woman, and all women don't have something beautiful about them. I just think, with me, just watching strong black women, I've always been intrigued with watching a black woman do her work, because you can't tell me that wasn't from the beginning just because of what they do or what they have done. It's proven. And that's why today when I look at some black women and see that they're trading in their pearls for swine, because they done got so fed up with trying to fight and be this being.
Okay, well, clarify. Give me an example of how you feel like the black woman has traded in her pearls for swine.
Not all.
Okay, well, some.
Okay, yeah. So I say when we out here and we presenting ourselves in a way that is not, first of all, it's you don't have to expose everything. You know what I mean, to get likes. We're turning into a like and follow kind of people. And this was done on purpose, right? This is why these things were put in place. We just kind of fall into the system. Like, I can't stand watching housewives, basketball wives, all that stuff to watch us display. I watched my little cousin, and my cousin, she was letting her daughter watch this, right? And I seen the shift in her attitude and throwing stuff around, and she's presenting herself like what she sees, right? So that right there, I got on her, you know, and we had a good conversation about it, and she switched her back to cartoons and things that she can, you know, interpret. Because see, one thing I know about kids are great listeners but bad interpreters. Okay,
so wait a minute, let me interject for a second. I have an example. So I feel like my youngest has, and I've said something to her about this, which is why I can speak on it. I feel like, in a sense, she has like taken this perception of what a black woman is and have turned it into this ghetto ratchetness type of thing. Like, I do believe in a woman speaking her mind. I do believe in a woman not allowing people to walk, but there is not a fine line between being like just it's just a certain, I don't even want to throw examples out there, but just the certain like projection that she's put, and I had to explain to her, I didn't raise you like that.
Right. You're like, who is that?
Exactly. Like, where are you getting this from? Are you getting this from, well, you clearly are getting this, you're getting this from social media, you're getting this from the media, and they are telling you that it's okay. They're telling you that it's okay for you to have bonnets, it's okay for you to walk outside with house slippers and pajama pants. And granted, if that's what y'all want to do, then that's what y'all gonna do, but I didn't raise my kids like that. So with that being said, you're displaying all these. Now we can go toe to toe about this bonnet and these on a different note, but I'm gonna move on. But
because I can say something about the bonnets too.
So wearing them outside, you see what I'm saying, to go to the grocery store. You see what I'm saying? It ain't like you got it on, but you got a hat over it and you can't see it. It's just there.
It's just big.
It's like a balloon.
You know what? You know what it is. It's a bonnet. My mother, I come from, like I said, women that was like, my grandmother was strict. You present yourself because you represent this family.
She has a pride, certain pride about herself.
Just enough, you know, to say, hey, you wouldn't see even a queen come out with a bonnet on. You know what I mean?
No.
So my thing is, we are taking the lazy route instead of saying, I want to present myself in a way that I feel good about myself. And I think we have downsides. I even see guys that pop out with pajamas on. It's like, did you just roll out of bed and just come on out? You know, and I hate to say it because I know that a lot of people get offended by it. It's like, well, we just free.
But it's a certain standard. The standard has changed.
Yes.
It's changed tremendously. So when I say, I know that my grandmother them used to get dressed to the nines.
You hear me? Don't even play with that.
Dressed to the nines. And they probably only had 5 dresses in their closet.
But that mug was it.
It wasn't pressed.
Hair and everything on it,
It was clean and it was pressed.
They didn't play that. That's why I said and that's why I say we are losing it. It's not that we all are. It's just watching how social media is changing our kids. It's locking in their minds, and we're not getting this because the more we sit here and say we prefer like than love.
But you know
we
what?
prefer the follow than just the lead, or you know what I mean. They're changing they're shifting us.
Well, that's the new brainwashing.
That's the new brainwashing. That's what schools were for.
The psychic attacks is gonna be through media.
Through media, and they know that. And matter of fact, they do things intentional. They'll put a storyline out there. Like for instance, we sit there and listen to Will smack Chris, and why something important that was going on in the background that they don't want us to see. Mm-hmm. See, we got to stop falling for the okie doke. And I tell people all the time, they're not doing nothing new. It's just we won't accept what it was old. Mm-hmm. And so therefore we're missing the point, and we keep falling, victim to the same thing. We spend so much. We spend so much money as far as what we buy in these material things. We spend millions, billions of dollars on nonsense, and we don't own nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's because our minds are still conditioned to be, like our schools taught us to be workers and not entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. See, their schools teach them to be entrepreneurs, all of them. We are the worker bees. And mm-hmm. that's why we work, and then we buy stuff to make us look like we have. Versus mm-hmm. actually having and taking our money and building things that are a necessity for our culture. We've learned to fake it till we make it.
But see, thing of it is, since they're flipping it and they're being called to be more entrepreneurs, and we're the worker bees, what happens to the workforce?
That's interesting. That's why they keep us here, because we are the workers.
Yeah, and
we are changing. A lot of us are starting to understand this concept, right?
And which is why technology is going to continue to take over, because these kids do not want to do physical labor. They want to be able to work remotely, which I'm not even sure why they want to work remotely, because they're not willing to leave. Like, I just feel like this is just me. I just feel like working remotely is really for those people that's trying to travel and dip and do. You see what I'm saying? Yep. Other than that, why can't you go into the office?
Right.
That was some of my highlights of working at the office.
Hey, let me tell you something. I love working alone. Right.
Having lunch together.
Having a good conversation. See, they trying to make you. We walk to the bar.
Make these kids antisocial.
Oh, they don't want to see
so that you can live in this virtual world.
Yes, that's what is key, to get us in a virtual world. Because I'm like, I love to be able to talk to someone, and you can't do it from home. I remember we had to Wiz Sports when this pandemic hit, and I had never done telework. Yeah. Right? So I'm like, well, what am I gonna do at home, right? So all our work is we consist of dealing with the whole public. You know what I mean?
You could do the electronic stuff, but it probably was monotonous by then.
Boy, by then I was doing this. I was just moving in the mouth. I'm up here asking them, well, what do you want me to do? What can I do? And I deal with the
work.
Just because I'm like, I'm just trying to secure my job, and so I'm asking, well, what am I going to do? So I'm sitting there that whole time, I answer the phone. Wasn't a lot of calls coming per se, you know what I mean? So I answer it, I deal with the customers and I send them on. And in the meantime, I'm like begging them from work. I said, now who does that? Who had to beg from work? You know what I mean? But I'm at home. I'm bored. I'm going to go to sleep in a minute. I'm I found myself laying in the bed, just moving the mouse, doing a couple clicks here and there. And it's like, I cannot do this. I'm going to drive myself. I'm here by myself. It's going to drive me up the wall anyway. So, especially when you're used to everybody. I got all these guys coming here, the attorneys, the judges, and here I go to nothing. Just sitting there in this room like,
staring.
Yeah. Can somebody talk to me? Yeah. So
start talking to yourself.
Yeah, start talking to yourself. So I was glad with this time. I said, I got a new position. I get to go into the job. I get to meet people. I get to talk on the telephone. Mm-hmm. So it works for me. But like I said, these kids they're accustomed now to just being lonely and behind their own walls and not communicating with each other, but that's how they want to get us. Mm-hmm. So I come from an era where we were outside. Football, basketball, tennis, hide and go seek. We stayed outside. Matter of fact, when you go back in the house, your mother's saying you smell like the outdoors.
Right.
Now, when you smell like the outdoors, you've been outdoors for a while, right?
Forever.
Forever. Stinky.
Mhm.
Just stinky. I come in stinky, still want to stay out. It's like, okay, well, you know, those lights are going down, so you need to get on in here, you know what I mean? So I love the generation that we came from, you know what I mean? Just those last, you know, few important days of being able to have that type of living, because everything is changing now. You won't know who you are.
But the key is figuring out how to reach them, though.
Yeah.
And since the generation now is different than what we grew up in, like we have to figure out how to reach them, and it may be digitally.
You know what? I do all kinds of ways. I just hold on to those, and then I share some of the good things about, you know, I find a lot of kids. This is something I think is important. I find that a lot of kids yearn for a form of discipline. You know, and it's ironic. People don't understand. It's like, well, because I remember when I was young, and it's like my brothers and sisters, you know, couldn't stand me, you know, to a certain degree, because they felt like I didn't get punished. You know, I'm the last sheet that I already wore down, you know what I mean? And I'm just like hanging out. And I understood what they're saying. But as they're looking at it from that way, I'm looking at it from the perspective of I'm not getting that same bond of love that I needed, right? So I yearn for that being in touch with a disciplinary, you know what I mean, because it's still out of love, right? So I look at kids, and when I say certain things to them, I had this one which he's grown, and you know he's hardcore. He's like the Debo of the community. But I remember as he was kind of raising him and being in his life since he was like 12, and watch how many people are scared of him. But they were like, you know, Aunt One, you know, he buckles down to you. And this guy is huge, you know what I mean? I remember one time he told me, he said, you know, I don't know. He said, sometimes you'll say something to me when I was young, and I'm like, I would never let nobody speak to me like that. But for some reason, he said, I always buckle down, but everybody else is scared. I said, well, for one, I'm not scared of you, you know, because, you know, just like you got a gun, I do too. You know what I mean? I said, but the mere fact is, I'd like to speak from the Ruach, or from the Spirit, you know, when I discuss with young people in their minds, you know what I mean, to guide them and lead them in the right direction. So I'm not causing no harm on you. So when they see that you don't cause harm, they quick not to buck against you because of what you do for them, right? So I felt, you know, using that technique, that if you can get somebody that I know that is so street, that just doesn't know how to live outside the street, and be able to, you know, talk about a gun, give me the gun, you know what I mean, things of that nature, that his thug status wouldn't allow him. But for some reason, between me and him, here you go. You know what I mean? Because he yearned for that to be in his life, because he didn't have a father. I was his only father figure. So it was one of those things where I take advantage of that, because I realize how important it is to provide that type of nurturing, you know what I mean, to someone who is lacking, because they only acting out because they're missing something. So I usually I pray first, and then I find out what's lacking, then I fulfill that lack. And when you fulfill that lack, then it puts them on an even playing field with others, and then they appreciate what you did, and then they come back and they usually say, hey, I'll protect you with my life. Why? Because you gave me life, even though I've only did what I was instructed to do. And I always make sure it goes back to the Most High, and you know, and say, hey, you know, you can have the same thing, but these are the techniques and tools you need in order to accomplish them yourself. You know what I mean? So I take pride in helping, you know, young people out, or helping adults or married couples or whatever it takes. I take pride in being able to say, I've experienced a numerous amount of things, so I can speak on it. I don't speak where I haven't experienced. So it just so happened I experienced a lot of stuff, so I can speak a lot of people like, well, how do you know this? Yeah, let me tell you, you know, I was one of those hard-headed kids. I made it my business to find out. And some things, like you said, people draw to you, so that means the more draw to you, the more you might find yourself on course or off course. Yeah. So you have to take the good with the bad, you know what I mean? And I always pray for his protection, and he has done that so far in the midst of so many things that should have took me out, that I'm still here, and I'm still able to do his work and lead people to their destiny versus, you know, what someone else has designed for them, you know, and lead them back to their natural self.
I know that's right. Purpose-led.
You feel me? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yeah. Okay. No, I got it.
Okay, yeah. We can go ahead and wrap this
up. We can still do a part 2, because
yes, we can, because me and him can talk for hours.
How did we get any work done? But we did get work done.
Yes. All day. We would talk all day.
But she goes one side on the other. But it's one of those things, when you find someone that has experienced life, you have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so easy to talk, because we always have flowed like this, right? Just go from one thing to the next thing, and next thing you know, we're like, what? I'm like, all right, oh yeah. I mean, because she has so many things. She's had so many things as far as ventures, with herbs, and I mean, she used to get. I mean, really, I used to say, why weren't you a chemist? You know what I mean?
I'm going to Jamaica soon, so I plan on trying to tap in.
Tap in, because you've done this. This is not like you just jumping in this.
You know what? You took my horn from me.
Oh wait, well, whatever. I'm just trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell her what I've been telling her for years. You know, I appreciate that, because when your purpose is to serve others and to be able to create and make it easier with natural products, that's why we're here. We're here to live out our natural life. And I encourage you to keep doing it, just because it heals people. We need to go back to the natural healing.
But you know what? We need to, but that programming, that whole thing with being programmed to where we're scared to take natural herbs, we're scared to let the other. I got a whole thing with crystals now, like with the energy, with the earth. Oh my gosh.
We're gonna talk. That will be something we will discuss on our next one.
Yes.
Because you know what, I don't mind discussing. I think it's important to communicate, because there's so many things that's out here right now, and be able to know the nature of them, know their origin, and I'm very into that. I need your origin, and I need to know from a biblical principle where we are with it. You know, where was it used? How was it used? Because there was nothing created that was not already given to us. There was nothing is incurable that he did not provide something to cure. It's just us being able to, first of all, strip this toxic from our minds in order to be able to get pure. It's hard to reach purity when you're still toxic. And a lot of people grow accustomed to living toxic lives. And that's why we have the challenge. That's why you have the challenge of getting people to go natural, is because once your body is adjusted to toxic, you live in it and you think that's life. You think you're alive, but you're really dead.
Yeah.
You're dead living.
Exactly.
But we're gonna bring people to the light.
Yes.
To the light. Carolyn, take them to the light.
Not to the light. I was thinking of Sean Paul. Just give me the light.
we both head in the same direction.
Yes.
Give me the light.
Yeah, I be channeling music. It just be on the whole nother.
Oh,
where did song come from?
You know we don't want to deal with music, because that's my forte. That's gonna come on our next interview. I have something that I'm working on.
Let me find out you about to have an open mic or.
Not yet, but it's coming. I'll get with you on something. Do you?
Yeah, I know a venue you can have it at.
Oh, well,
it's real cute and intimate.
Well, let's do it, because you know me, I'm all about that, and especially with poetry. I want to.
See, you trying to have me stay here?
I know.
Cut.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Thanks.